Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Bahasham, Barakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Mark chapter 3, verses 24 to 25. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And hey, this precept rings true to any, kingdom or a power throughout history. No matter how strong they were on the outside, once they were divided internally, they collapsed. Let's look at the nation of Israel, for instance. After King Solomon's death, when the northern and the southern kingdom split, what did you see? The northern kingdom go into captivity, then the southern kingdom go into captivity. And hey, the nation of Israel, outside of the elect being divided unto this day, the nation of Israel consisting of your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And this is going to be no different for the kingdom of the United States of America, which is ruled by the biblical Edomites, or these so-called white people. And in the year 2024, you can see that these Americans, especially these Edomites, are divided on a damn near every level you can be divided on. The house of Esau divided against itself. You've got political divisions with, red versus blue, conservative versus liberal, class divisions with the poor and middle class Edomites against the rich Edomites, looking at them as what, screwing us over. Hey, they're not paying their fair share of taxes, and what, these corporations are selling our jobs off to people outside of this country, outside of our nation. Edomites are divided religiously with, so-called Christian Edomites against atheistic Edomites. You've got gender divisions with the Edomite man against the woman, MGTOW versus feminism, generational divides with the millennials and the Gen Z against the baby boomers, etc., etc. And again, if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. We are living in the twilight hours of not just the Edomites' rulership in the United States of America, but globally, before they are completely taken out of power and the children of Israel are put back into power in the United Kingdom of Yasharallah, the kingdom of heaven, where we shall rule for eternity. But I'm going to focus on the division of the United States of America in this lesson. And I opened up the video with those verses to preface an article from Vice.com titled, "Extremists Call for Civil War and Secession Over Texas Border Ruling." And on the southern border, with Texas, things are heating up down there. As we're about to read, the feds are staging a civil war and Texas should stand their ground, a GOP congressman tweeted after the Supreme Court ruled for the Biden administration. Political divisions, those in the government, at really button heads with each other, especially over this border issue. The feds are staging a civil war and Texas should stand their ground. That's not a post by an anonymous user on a fringe message board. That was a post on X by Representative Clay Higgins, a GOP congressman from Louisiana, who was responding to the Supreme Court's ruling that the Biden administration and not Texas has jurisdiction over border enforcement. Higgins's post was shared widely across extremist online ecosystems who lapped up the incendiary language. Man, if that shit pops off, it'll be open season on the feds. One person on far-right forum, patriots.win, said in response, "It's already started. One side is fighting, the other isn't, remarked another. Hey, the house of Esau Edom, the kingdom of America, clearly divided. And with this person on that forum saying it's open seasons on the feds, hey, that also plays into biblical prophecy. These people no longer, these average, everyday citizens no longer regarding the authorities in the government, which, let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 15. I'm going to start at verse 15 in the Apocrypha. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. And that one people standing up and fighting against another goes into many things. One race of people standing up and fighting against another, race wars, which is also a part of biblical prophecy. Matthew chapter 24, nation shall rise against nation. And hey, the United States of America is going to be a powder keg for racial tensions when, all hell breaks loose. One political party standing up against another, like as we just read, that GOP congressman, saying that the Biden administration and the feds don't have the authority to, block what Texas is doing to try to hold their border together, and even then, the average everyday citizen going against the government with that one commenter saying, hey, it's open season on the feds, and swords in their hands. And the modern day sword, especially in the United States of America, is the gun. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men. And the definition for that word sedition is conduct or speech inciting open rebellion against a ruling authority on the monarch. Again, if that shit pops off, it's open season on the feds and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. And your modern day kings and princes are the authorities, in the government, from your mayors, senators, governors, the president, prime ministers, and even the authorities like the military or the police that uphold the system. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power, like it said in the book of Judges, and every man did what was right in his own eyes in those days. And that's exactly how it's going to be when all hell truly breaks loose in the United States of America during Jacob's trouble. It's going to be a free-for-all, and all these different divisions taking place in this kingdom, hey, they're going to come to a head. But let's get back to that article. Higgins's post was shared widely across extremist online ecosystems who lapped up the incendiary language. I think I already read that. Yeah, I already read that. Well, we'll just read that statement again. Man, if that shit pops off, it'll be open season on the feds. Hey, for there shall be sedition among men. Last October, Border Patrol agents started cutting through the miles of razor wire that Texas officials had erected along the border without the permission of the federal government, triggering a legal battle between the Biden administration and the Lone Star State that ended up at the Supreme Court. This month, Shelby Park in Eagle Pass, Texas, which sits on a 50-acre stretch of the Rio Grande and is a popular point for unauthorized crossings, became a lightning rod for that fight and a staging area for Governor Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star. The Texas National Guard seized control of the park and surrounded it with razor wire, which Border Patrol said limited their surveillance abilities and their access to a ramp that agents use to patrol that stretch of the river. Hey, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. Following the takeover, the DOJ filed a brief to the Supreme Court saying that Border Patrol could no longer access or view that stretch of the border. Texas has effectively prevented Border Patrol from monitoring the border to determine whether a migrant requires the emergency aid that the Court of Appeals expressly accepted, the DOJ wrote. Last week, 3 migrants, A woman and her children drowned in the Rio Grande just near Shelby Park. Border Patrol claimed that the Texas National Guard prevented them from saving them, which Texas has denied. And whether that instance happened or not, hey, that's an example of what? One people standing up and fighting against another. Like I was saying, that goes into many things, including racial tensions. If that event happened, what? Those Texas National Guard, which were mainly made up of Edomites, hey, they let those Northern Kingdom Israelites drown, and you're gonna see more instance of that. That's another part of America being divided. Again, these racial tensions. To you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, children of Israel, who believe in this American dream, you're quickly going to see that it's a nightmare when these Edomites show that old hatred towards you, start going after you. Read Isaiah chapter 13. Hey, every man shall return unto his own people. And roughly paraphrasing, anybody that's not found amongst their people shall be thrust through with the sword. Their houses shall be spoiled, broken into, and their goods taken, and their wives ravished, their wives raped, and what? Their children shall be dashed against the stones, put to death. But now I'm going to jump down to these last few paragraphs. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson suggested on X that everyone in power, including the White House, hedge fund managers, and the Supreme Court, are part of a plan to destroy the country by allowing it to be invaded, and thinks that ordinary Texans need to join the fight. That leaves the population to defend itself, Carlson wrote. Where are the men of Texas? Why aren't they protecting their state and their nation? To the Republic of Texas and my brothers in the trenches holding off an invasion, we see you, kings, one Proud Boy chapter wrote on Telegram. We've all been betrayed and sold out by an illegal government. That sole mission is to destroy our traditions, freedoms, and way of life. We refuse to concede our nation to communists. America is counting on you to hold the line. If a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And the United States of America divided on damn near every level you can think of. Verified right-wing accounts on X made similar calls to arms. Texas should secede, wrote Gunther Eagleman, who described himself as an America First political commentator. Fuck the feds. Hey, there shall be sedition amongst men. Fuck the Supreme Court, wrote Steve Loves Ammo to his 90,000 followers. Buy guns and ammo. Your government isn't coming to save you. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. There's also a new meme circulating in conservative and anti-government online circles showing a row of razor wire, the Texas Lone Star, and the words, "Come and cut it." Point blank, period. But now I'm going to close it out in Isaiah chapter 19, verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. And this isn't talking about the ancient Egyptians or Mizraim, who were Hamites or so-called Africans. This is talking about the modern day spiritual Egyptians as pursuant to Revelation 11 verse 8. The United States of America, that great city, which is called spiritual Sodom, and Egypt, which is very easy to see why America is spiritual Sodom. Just look at the lifestyle this place pushes onto the rest of the world, and spiritual Egypt. Just look at the back of your $1 bill or the Washington Monument. And hey, this place is serving in the exact same function that ancient Egypt served for the children of Israel, as a place of hardcore bondage and slavery, perpetual second-class citizenship. But again, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, the Americans against the Americans, especially these Edomite Americans, and they shall fight, everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor. city against city, and kingdom against kingdom, point blank period, there will be a second civil war in the United States of America. And whether this situation in Texas pops it off or something else, it will take place. And expect, all these tensions to only intensify as the economy continues to collapse. Inflation turns into hyperinflation. People lose their jobs. People can't afford to buy food for themselves or their loved ones. A whole host of issues. And what else is coming out this year in April? A movie called Civil War, which the tagline is every, empire falls. And I believe the plot for that movie is that Texas and California secede from the United States of America. Sounds like a little bit of predictive programming. But that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites, primarily from spiritual Egypt, the United States of America. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.